Ladies and gentlemen, dogs and cats, animals of all genders, welcome to Apocalypse Soon. And now, put your hands together. If you ain't got hands, put your feet together. It's Eddie Pepitone!
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Apocalypse Soon, the podcast with no upside. I am your host and my co-host, Kevin Tinkin.
Howdy.
And our engineer, Rob Haybearer.
Hello.
Hello, Rob. Rob got a nice shout out on the Patreon saying Rob's been a great addition.
I agree,
too. He's a steadying influence. He gives us facts garnered from. He's like an AI chatbot.
It's great, yeah, but real.
But real.
Yeah, and he actually has information to share, unlike me, which I like to have just speculation that I throw out there, you know.
I call it ballpark.
Thank you.
You know, if I'm in the ballpark as far as facts are concerned, then I'm like, okay.
That's all we need.
Not bad.
A whiff of the flavor of the truth.
Yes. So here we are doing another episode of Apocalypse Soon. I'm trying to think. You know what's a funny thing in the news? I usually don't do like the news, but it's hilarious to me that there was such a kerfuffle over the fact that Donald Trump had the secret documents in Mar-a-Lago, and now Biden is like finding them. Oh shit! Like Biden has a weed jar behind his like kitchen. He's like, he was like when Biden went to get weed the other day in his weed jar. Everybody has a weed jar and a mason jar with buds. You know, and there was a document that in other words, they're finding all these secret documents in different places in Biden's house.
Yeah, they found, Biden was looking for one of his porn magazines that he keeps under the mattress.
Which, to me, I don't know why he's keeping magazine, because it's all available, right, on the internet.
Biden's he's not into that digital culture. You know, he likes to have some physical that he can hold on to, you know, which I get. I like to have pages to turn when I'm getting horned up. You know, I like to.
I find it to be a pain in the ass because I'm trying to manipulate my body parts, and I don't want to make it too graphic.
I think that's a lot of the people are waiting for you to do that. You know, a lot of people have been asking for a little bit more graphic detail on your body parts.
I don't think so.
Do you remember the first time you were exposed to pornography?
I do.
You do.
It was I remember it was cloudy that day. It was about 60, 65 degrees. Yeah. I had just finished we didn't call it sorbet then, we called it sherbet. I had finished a nice sherbet rainbow, you know, and all of a sudden I saw a Spanish version of Hustler. It was called Hustlero.
Hustlero.
And it was a lot of Spanish people in compromising positions. And instinctively, I just masturbate. Like, I didn't even know what masturbation was. And I guess it's like when it's in our DNA. Yeah. In men's DNA, anyway.
Yeah. To
just immediately masturbate when you see a Spanish version of Hustler.
I get
Hustlero.
Hustlero. I get it, dude. I totally get it. I mean, when you see the foreign, ness of it, like the exoticness of it, and then it's Hustler, so it's got the full spread. It's not. They're not messing around like.
I believe it was my dad's pornography.
Yeah.
When you're a kid, you find it's kind of disturbing actually to find your parents' private stuff because you have them elevated in your mind as gods because they're bigger than you and they have like this authority over you, and then you see like in their drawers handguns and pornography and fake passports.
Oh, really?
Those ties for the wrists. You see
the fluffy handcuffs,
clipped out articles on how to make a bomb, You start going, maybe this fella, my father, is not as upright a citizen as I thought he might be.
That's always a letdown, You know,
Yeah.
when you realize your dad's just trying to make fake bombs and jerk it to Spanish pornography, and it's always hard. It's always hard.
And still you're in denial. You're
Mhm.
like, well, maybe the fake bombs, are for a good cause.
Yeah.
Fake bombs. Maybe the real bombs are for a good cause. Maybe Spanish Hustler is, because he wants to learn Spanish.
Yeah, yeah. That could, you know what? Maybe that's
They didn't
what it
have
was.
language tapes back then.
That's true. That's true. That's
The closest you could get was Hustlero if you wanted to learn Spanish.
I used to have a Hustlero on audiobook. They would read it, and it was very sexy.
Hustlero on audiobook is funny. And for the naked pictures, it would just be a guy going, and then there's a woman.
Oh my God.
And she's laying down, and she has no fucking clothes on.
Oh my God.
Okay? And I'm talking about beautiful breasts. That's the audiobook version
I like
of
it.
naked
Yeah.
pictures.
I like that in that version there's another guy that he's talking to, just going, oh my God, that sounds amazing.
Yes. Oh, this sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good audiobook. It's not a shit audiobook. Like Audible is paying not only that guy, but Audible's paying the other guy.
Yeah.
Audible sometimes they spare no expense. I don't know if you've ever worked for Audible.
I have not.
They're in San Francisco. I did a Audible thing. It paid pretty well.
Really? What book were you reading?
I did and I had to learn Bulgarian. I did a Bulgarian version of Moby Dick.
Oh, really?
It was Moby Dick.
Moby?
No, you're doing French. You're doing French, I think.
Yeah,
I'm doing Bulgarian accent is Moby Dick.
You've always been good at those.
I don't want to go down that road again. I don't want to go there because we've been doing a lot of Italian stuff and
that's
alien.
true.
It's fun to do, but I don't know if it's offensive
I don't think
at
so.
this point.
We haven't had a big uprising of the Italian listenership in a while.
Oh,
I think they're
my
pretty
God.
satisfied.
I've been doing an Irish gigolo on stage, and last night it fell flat. I came out and I said, I'm from County Cork and I fuck everybody. And people were looking at me like, yeah, they just made the face that Rob made, which was like, what the fuck? And they were looking at me like, what the fuck? And I said, hey, so I did that, and I kept going for a little bit, like, I fucked everybody in County Cork. I'm Tom Johnson, Irish gigolo, and still nothing. And then I said in my own voice, I said, thank you for coming, everybody. Thank you for coming on that journey with me. This character's been in development for many years. The Irish gigolo from County Cork.
I do like the Irish accent too.
Me
It's
too.
Like, that's fun. It's like, come on, Fanny, put it in your arse.
That's really good.
That's got to be. I got to be putting it in your bumhole. There, Fanny. I don't know what I'm saying.
I don't know. I don't want to know. I heard bumhole and I was like, let him.
Yeah.
Like, part of
thank
me
you.
knows
I get
that.
terse.
Well, part of me knows that it's better medically to let you go on these rants, like medically, like whatever's going on with your brain.
Yeah. Well, you've had a lot of conversations with my psychiatrist.
We're on speed dial.
That's right.
Hey, maybe we should start this one with a guided meditation.
Oh, I love it. Folks, you're in for one. Okay, well, let's take those lights down nice and easy. Take all your cares. I want you to hold them and set them aside. And now, get ready for another episode of Guided Meditation with Eddie Pepitone.
Hello, everybody, and today I'm particularly talking to my California friends, and those of you who've been following the weather in California lately. Atmospheric rivers are bringing a tremendous amount of precipitation here in California. As a matter of fact, I'm speaking to you from a yoga studio where the water is right below my chin. But that's not going to stop us from doing our guided meditation. As long as you can breathe, and I'm just above the water level here, and there is debris floating around, and there are some snakes. But I want everybody who is not in a flood zone to take a deep in-breath. That's right. With your first in-breath, I want you to visualize a little elf-like creature playing a ukulele while getting a blowjob. I want everybody to see an elk. Not an elk. An elk. I want everybody also to see an elk being slaughtered by a Joe Rogan type friend. And then I want you to see an elf playing a ukulele getting a blowjob. Breathe that in. There's nothing like a beautiful image to get one going during the day. It's like a hot cup of coffee, except fellatios involved. And now, with your first out-breath, I want you to breathe that little elf out of your system, and I want you to replace it with a lawsuit. I want you to replace it with a vicious lawsuit that the state has filed against you because you didn't claim certain COVID benefits, and they did a search and they caught you. And even though you've only taken a small amount of money, they're going to pursue you because they let the really rich corporations, a la Southwest, who took billions and didn't put it into their software. Anyway, just take a nice out breath. Out breath and breathe that out, that you're gonna get sued by a government that always attacks the little guy. Yes, breathe that out. And now, with your next in-breath, and I hope you're wearing light clothing, light colored, breathable clothing. What material I like is perforated canvas, something I found on the street. I just wear a canvas bag that military-style potatoes were kept in. And by the way, if you haven't had a military-style potato, please do. It's a potato drenched in blood, and paranoia. So I want everybody now to take a bit, on that note, I want everybody to take a deep in-breath and think of drone technology and how drone technology is used for the slaughter of innocent civilians. Breathe that in, that drones no longer make warfare a thing where people are going hand to hand. With your next out-breath, I want you to breathe out the fact that in the Civil War in the United States, there was brutal hand-to-hand combat. And that was the way that war, even though it was brutal and millions, I believe it was millions, died, at least you were seeing the other person. Whereas now, the technology is such that the murder comes from an unmanned drone. Breathe that out. And now, with your final in-breath, I want you to breathe in the fact that the only way we are going to make it out alive of the sixth mass extinction, which we are in the middle of, is to take a suicide pill, because it is going to be a brutal thing when the deterioration is at a certain level. And I understand why people want to have children. It is a impulse in our DNA. Your children, though, are not going to make it to, 13, I think, would be the number with the way things are going. And now, with your final out-breath, I just want you to picture yourself crying in a room. Just a room with no lights. The electricity has been turned off. And there's a hot plate in the room, and you've been warming up, for some reason, elk.
Thanks for joining us on another guided meditation with Eddie Pepitone.
That felt pretty good.
The warming up the elk.
Hey, Margaret. Yes, Al. Where is the elk carts I had? Oh, was that what those little red things were? On the couch? Margaret, I keep them on the couch because, I read that if an elk cart is on the couch, it will make the couch softer. It will also... What do you got in your mouth there, Margaret? I see you kind of picking out a hair. I don't know what I have in my mouth, Al. I know it's not your member. Oh, that's a nice shot you just took at me. Why, because my member is small? It's tiny, Al. Great. I can't believe you are calling my Johnson, my soldier, tiny. Yeah, I am. All right. Is that the way you want it? Well, if you're going to leave Elkhart on the couch, yeah, that's what I'm gonna publicly. What do you mean publicly? Well, we're here on the podcast. You're gonna start that whole can of worms, huh? Oh, here we go. We're just two people in love. We're goddamn projections of Eddie Pepitone's sick mind. Look, Margaret, you know what? Here, I didn't want to do this, but here are divorce papers. You son of a bitch! Slap! Margaret, you're making the slap sound. Was that you drinking water or Eddie? Look, I want out of this, Margaret. I want to be free to go with other characters that form in Eddie's brain. I fell in love with an Italian alien character in his brain. You bastard! I knew. I could tell. You haven't been present lately. I could tell you were thinking of someone else. You were always checking your goddamn phone. And I looked at your phone and it just said, IA, Italian alien, IA. I thought it was AI. I thought it was some kind of bullshit, dyslexia thing. But it was IA, Italian alien. You fell in love with the Italian alien character. You fell. Oh my God, he's here! Al, come over here. I want to kiss you. Hey, come on there, Giuseppe. Giuseppe square root 10. Please, don't, me and Margaret have to work something out. I'm trying to get divorce papers so we can spend more time in the motel by the bridge. You are finally initiating the divorce? Yeah. Go make some polenta for us. I will make the best polenta you ever had. I make polenta too. Italian alien. What are you laughing at, Margaret? This is serious. Look at these divorce papers. There's nothing there, Al. We're just talking at Eddie's. Eddie's doing all three characters. Okay? You're not going to scare me with phony divorce papers. What's the matter, Margaret? I hear shortness of breath. I'm having a panic attack that you're leaving. But we're not real. We're three different voices. What the hell is going on? Are you coming to the Bridge Motel or not? Hey, listen, alien fuck. What did you call me? I will zap you with my laser from the planet. From the planet. I will zap you with my laser from the planet Moron, the planet Moronio. Look. Look, you know what? I take it back, Margaret. I don't want to go with this guy. He entranced me at first because of the novelty of an Italian alien character. And I think I'm over it. The guy's off his rocker. You'd be off of you. You shouldn't have done that. You shouldn't have said that because where I am from in Moronio, we slap people and we kill them. Yeah. You're really scaring me there, buddy. Oh, maybe I scare you in my laser. You're just making an sound. Oh, watch out, he's got a laser. Margaret! We're just three goddamn... I don't want a divorce. No, Al. No. Let's stay together and build a life here in New Hampshire. Margaret? I love you, baby.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of Checking In with Al and Margaret, a couple living inside Eddie Pepitone's head.
Boy, that one kind of got hairy. You know, Al thinking of divorcing Margaret. The Italian... Where'd the Italian alien come from?
I just kept looking. I'd look over at Rob, and he just kept putting his hand over his face.
Yeah.
I was looking up stuff about Italian aliens.
Anything?
Zanfretta UFO incident, most famous Italian UFO incident.
Is that right?
Really?
Is Zanfretta the name of the location? Or the name of the person who spotted it?
The Italian night watchman Pier Fortunato Zanfretta claimed to have been a...
Pier? His name is?
Pier. P-I-E-R.
Hey, Pier, why are you pointing up in the sky?
I must see the aliens.
What?
It's me, Pier Fortunato Requisito. What was his name?
Zanfreddi.
Pier...
Zanfredi.
Yeah. Zanfretta.
Zanfretta.
Pier, why do you always look to the sky?
At the sky, they're coming back for me. My life is so meaningless, but yet I look up to the sky, and I know they're coming back for me.
I turned that off. I turned it off. I was in my Instacart / Bloodmobile / DoorDash / Therapymobile. I had been listening to this Italian comedian Del Arte play about Italian aliens and who spotted it. But now the rain was coming down and I had a delivery. I was doing Uber Eats. And I was singing in my car. I had taken singing lessons from someone who the only song they knew was You Give Me Fever. It was a very limited vocal class. You give me fever, bum, bum. You give me fever, fever! And I was attracted to it because I had just come off a bout of COVID where I had bad fever in the rain. The rain just was hitting the street the way Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier would hit each other. The rain was pounding the street the way a couple would pound each other after not seeing each other for a year because they were both in a federal prison, not a prison. A prison is something completely different, and I don't want to get into it here, but the rain, I couldn't even describe it to you. When I was doing an Uber Eats, I had to bring a Reuben across town, and it wasn't what you're thinking. It wasn't pastrami and sauerkraut and Swiss cheese. It was a guy named Reuben. I had to bring a guy named Reuben across town. Guy named Reuben across town, and he was in the back seat. He was nervous. Where you taking me to? He kept saying. I said, it's hard as seeing out of this car, Reuben. I got a bad wiper. I got a bum wiper. He says, what are you talking? I go, ma'am, my windshield wipers aren't working. And sure enough, they weren't. I should have taken it in to Harry the mechanic, but Harry had fallen off a ladder and fractured his ankle in 35 different places. I said, Harry, how can you be that specific about how many fractures. And he said, that's what they told me at the hospital. I said, noted. So I couldn't take it into Harry, and Reuben was in the back seat. I said, Reuben, I have nothing to do with this. Yeah, but you're the one who ripped me out of my house. That's because you were ordered. I have to, as an Uber Eats driver, you have to get the item and bring it to someone. Who ordered me? It says here your ex-wife, Dolores. And the rain, as soon as I mention the name Dolores, the rain came down twice as fast, then 3 times as fast, then 4 times as fast, then 5 times as fast, then 6 times. And I don't have to keep saying this. You see the increments. It was coming down faster and faster, and I couldn't see in front of me. And I kept hitting garbage pails. I kept hitting errant bicycles that had been abandoned. There was a tremendous water flow. Tremendous water flow in the street. I was in California, Los Angeles, as you know, and we've been having atmospheric rivers coming in. Rain has been so relentless. I look back at Reuben, and he just had a look of despair. Please don't take me to Dolores, he would say. And I'm like, Reuben, I got my marching orders from Uber Eats, and hopefully Dolores is a good tipper. She ain't gonna give you shit. I said, good. Look, Reuben, I do what I'm told here by the app. Why do you listen to apps? He said. The rain started beating on my car the way my children beat on my car when I left them for good. And I left them near an industrial recycling plant. And I said, you'll be all right, I said to them as I tossed them one ham, cheese, and salami sandwich with some pimento and pickle. They loved that kind of thing. It was for the 3 of them, and I never saw them again. I always would think of that sandwich. It was delicious. I never thought of the kids, but I always thought of that sandwich, you know. Reuben said to me, you're a heartless bastard. And I said, we're here. And there was a woman out in front with a sign that said, deliver Reuben to me or I'll cut your balls off and stick him down your throat and enter you in a very difficult chess tournament. Now I understood the first part. You know, it was a threat. Cut your balls off, stick him down your throat, but enter you into a difficult chess tournament. First of all, I enjoyed chess. I enjoyed the challenge of it. I have a mathematical mind and I like to see patterns. So, Reuben, you're in luck. And I sped away from this crazed lunatic, and I was hoping to get a ping on my phone saying I was entered into a difficult chess tournament. The ping never came, but my balls were stuffed down my throat immediately. By Reuben, who jumped into the front of the car with the Bowie knife, or Bowie, whatever. Bowie's dead, but I mean, let's call it a Bowie knife then. And I said, Reuben, are you in cahoots with Dolores? The rain was coming down like a son of a bitch. The rain was coming down like a son of a bitch. I mean a son of a bitch who wouldn't give you a salami cheese ham sandwich with pimento and pickle if he was leaving you for life. A son of a bitch who wouldn't lend you a nickel if you were dead broke. A son of a bitch who would push you off a bridge. A son of a... Anyway, you get the idea. Reuben was a son of a bitch. He was in cahoots with Dolores. The whole thing was a goddamn scam just to get my balls in my throat. And the rain came down even harder. Uber Eats was not easy.
Thanks for joining us on another Driving in the Rain with Edward Pepperino.
Hey. Really? It has been raining out here. By the way, the rain.
Wild.
Do you know that the rain, Rob, is supposed to pick up again?
Really?
Oh, you don't know that?
No, I didn't know that.
I think by tomorrow, Saturday and
Jesus
Sunday,
Christ.
it's gonna start raining again.
I feel like we threw a microphone in an insane asylum at you for the last one. It's like I could just see you standing next to a window, talking, doing that exactly, into like a little
the whole
record.
the whole podcast. Look at this. Look at the sound stuff. Looks like we're in a rubber room a little bit.
Yeah,
You know what I
a
mean?
little bit.
You know.
Who knows, man? Maybe the court system, took pity, and they're like, just put him in, call it a podcast studio. Put him in there. Give him a microphone. Rob's actually a therapist.
Rob, yeah, right. Rob is one of the leading psychiatrists in Vienna, and he's like suppressing the Viennese accent. He's like if Rob really used his real voice, it would be like, very interesting that your subconscious rears its head in all of these bits. Instead, he's like, yeah. Like he's perfected. He's almost perfected the accent here in the valley.
Yeah. It's almost perfect.
I've noticed that Margaret dies very often in your fantasies. Tell me about this.
That's because I never liked my mother. She was a nutty dame.
I've noticed he's able to connect with his true feelings through the voices of characters, and he appears to be saying it as if it's another character, but his true emotions are coming out.
We're really on the cutting edge of a new style of cognitive behavioral therapy.
It's beautiful.
By the way, have you ever done, either one of you guys, have you ever done these new techniques they have? Steve actually did it. It's called EMSR, I believe.
EMDR. Or,
EMDR.
Is it
or is it ATM?
Wait,
no, that's where you get cash. It's EMDR or
it's something about rapid eye movement.
Eye movement desensitization and reprocessing therapy?
Yes, I have done it.
You have?
I have done it. Me and my wife both did it. We went to couples therapy years ago.
Okay.
Not to brag or anything that
not a brag.
we work on our marriage, but
marriage is hard.
It's very hard. But no, they put the little vibrators in our hands, and they're like these little things, and they oscillate from one side to the other, and they have you reenact a moment of trauma in your life, and then they try to get you to essentially, like, for the example that they used was essentially like a situation, and they go, well, who could have dealt with that situation better? And they go like, oh, my Uncle Joe was always good with that. And they go, okay, Uncle Joe's there. He taps you on the shoulder, and he's like, he walks you through. But it was really effective.
I'd be like, my Uncle Joe diddled me. All right, well, let's not put Uncle Joe in this scenario then. No,
he needs to be
I want him in. He had a certain way about him. First, he would show me, Fishing and Stream magazine. It was a bizarre magazine. By the way, I keep laughing because I feel like I'm going. Everything seems really absurd to me right now.
I like it. I mean, I like being kind of in the whirlwind of insanity.
Yeah, and I have an itch on my elbow that's driving me nuts.
So you got that chronic elbow itch.
Hello.
You know what's good for that? EMDR.
That's right.
No, but yeah, it does have to do with trauma.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever do any of that stuff? You ever have any trauma?
Oh yeah.
I really.
You. Yeah. I mean, my dad used to take us to trauma. Oh. That first thing he did was say, all right, kids, get in the car. We're going to have a traumatic experience. And we'd be like, wait a minute. You know it's going to happen. Why don't we not do it?
Yeah.
And he'd be like, get in the fucking car. And already it would feel traumatic, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And then he would throw me out of the car, you know, just literally while the car was still moving. And he goes, "How's that for trauma?" And I would just yell back, "Well done."
Yeah.
Tell that to your future EMDR therapist. He was from the future. My father, turns out.
Amazing. My dad, he'd always go, when he would take us out for trauma, he would always
take us out for trauma.
He'd be driving, he goes, you know, your mom doesn't really like you. I go, what? Good. You know, she just feels.
Holy shit! And he would hit a dog.
Yeah. He always our dog too, which was
always
our dog.
Yeah.
Can I tell you something that was actually traumatic once?
Sure.
I was gonna say something horrible. No, my cat. I had a cat that got squished by the garage door. And
dude, we didn't have to hear this.
Because I don't know if
that's horrible.
It popped into my head because I remember we were coming home.
How old were you?
I was probably 10, and I remember we came home and we thought he was sleeping by the garage door.
That's awful, man.
And it was gone.
There's something about animals, man. There's something about they're so fucking innocent.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like humans just the industrial landscape is just cruel to animals.
His name was Spanky.
All right. Well, maybe he deserved to die.
He's a good boy. He was old. He was old. You know?
Oh, okay.
He had a good life. He had a good life. I think he took himself out. I really think he took himself out.
Let's see. How do I do this? This noose.
He was in love with his sister.
Can't get up. Yeah.
It was good times. Good old Spanky.
Tell me more about your incestuous cats.
See, now the therapists get too deep.
This is very interesting.
When was the first time you ever experienced any sort of therapy or like anything like that?
I had I have a very good answer. I had a nervous breakdown in college.
Really?
Like complete, where I couldn't sleep for days.
Like full on insomnia? Just
full on, like just, whew. It was complete. I guess they would call it disassociating. Like I would look in a mirror and I had no idea what I was looking at, and that I would have to run away from the mirror. I didn't know who it was. I had a big identity crisis, and then I found out I was a fireman from the 15th century, and I was fine.
Oh, you just had
they
to
put
realize...
me on pills that were called firemen from the 15th century. You know, they abbreviated F5, whatever it was, 15 cent. You know. And the shrink was like, this pill will ground you in the 15th century as a fireman.
Well, in the 15th century, the firemen, a lot of people don't know this, they had to spit water on the fire because it was...
No, what they did, it was buckets.
Oh, okay.
They would go into the lake. But by the time they got to the castle, we're talking 1400s, 15th century. And that was like serfs and the church. The church kind of ruled everything then. The Catholic Church, they owned all the property, you know. And, you know, sometimes the Pope would be on fire, and it would be like, I'm on a fire, the Pope would say. The hat, it's caught the fire. And I'm like, hey, Pope, why are you always leaning into the fireplace there? That hat is huge.
He used to sleep with the hat on. He couldn't get that thing off of him.
And sometimes the tip of the Pope's hat would touch a nightlight and trigger flame. Or if the Pope, like me, kept a toaster near his bed because you want to toast a nice bagel, and the toaster and the hat goes into the toaster, the toaster gets pushed down somehow, and the hat ignites.
Well, you notoriously...
the Pope on fire!
You notoriously have a lot of kitchen appliances by your bed.
I do. I have a blender.
Yeah.
On my night table right next to me because I'll make a smoothie at the drop of a hat, the Pope's hat. I bought a Pope's hat on eBay.
Really?
Yeah, it was Pope John II.
Yeah.
It was his hat. It cost me a pretty penny.
The Bears cap?
The what?
It was a Bears hat?
What do you mean? Oh,
The Chicago Bears cap?
yeah, he was a Bears
He
fan.
loved Bears.
He loved Jim McMahon. It was back in the day when
Yeah.
the Bears won the Super Bowl, the fridge and all
Yeah,
that.
he loved the fridge.
He loved the fridge. But anyway, I say let's wrap it up with what should we wrap it up with?
Let's talk about more of your traumas. I think that's.
I love the phrase. Come on, kids, get in the car. We're going for trauma. That's funny. I might use that on stage.
I think that's because it's the idea. Like parents never intentionally try to traumatize their kids, but as a kid, it feels like it.
Oh,
Sometimes, like Jesus, he's gonna fuck up my childhood. Here it comes.
fuck up my adulthood.
Yeah,
Well, the childhood too, but
yeah.
You ever see the buttons that say it's never too late to have a happy childhood?
No,
It's based on that thing that you've had a shitty childhood
yeah.
and now as an adult you're healing. But I won't wear that button, especially around brutal men. Because they pick on you.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Oh, look at this one.
Yeah. You wear that in front of Marin, he just gonna be like,
Baron.
like fucking pussy. I don't even know how he talks, but I assume that he would give you a hard time.
Oh,
I traumatized my kids just a few days ago on accident.
Yeah.
I forgot they got out at 2:00, and so
School.
yeah, so I took a little nap, and then I woke up.
You and your naps.
I woke up around 3:00 to a bunch of voicemail messages from my daughter going, "Where are you, Dad?" And so I had to go to school. Yeah, Papa, where did you go?
We're in the corn
And
waiting for you.
I picked her up, and she had been crying, and I'm just like, ugh. And I'm
What?
like,
How late were you?
about an hour. I was about an hour
That's
late.
a long time to leave a child.
Well, she's 12. You know,
Didn't you?
she's-
Oh, you just yeah.
She was
yeah.
at school, you know,
Was she trying to text you?
well, they were calling me from the school, but
And you were dead asleep.
I was dead asleep. Yeah, I felt so bad. And when I picked
I
her
feel
up,
like calling child services.
Rob goes, like
Yeah,
this.
drinking. I feel like calling child
yeah, sure.
services. No, it's
No,
more
no.
like smoking.
No, I would never. Do that. No, but she. When I got there, I was just like, "You're never gonna forget this." I'm like, "This is real." I go, "Let's do a real."
Did you
bad.
win her over real
I
quick?
did because I took her to
Aw.
McDonald's to get her a McFlurry
Aw.
immediately, and I said, "I feel so bad, babe. I'm so sorry." She's like, "Dad, it's fine, it's fine." I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm gonna be a full-on bad dad here. Let's go get you some ice cream." She's like, "Okay." I'm like, "Am I a good dad now?" And she's like, "Yeah." So it all worked out. but
Well,
I felt very.
That's
bad.
an upbeat way to end it. Why don't you take us out, Kev?
All right, folks. Thanks so much for checking in here with Apocalypse Soon with the man Eddie Pepitone and myself, Kevin Tengen. Please leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. Send us emails to eddypeppodcast@gmail.com and go over to YouTube right now. It costs absolutely nothing, and we will provide you with just hours of entertainment at YouTube. And go subscribe there, and we put up videos and everything. And if you're not a Patreon subscriber, go over to Patreon, and we'll get you those videos the day that they come out, and some extra little messages from Eddie, and some exclusive stand-up clips and all that good stuff.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Thanks for coming by. We appreciate our listenership and viewership, and spread the word about this podcast. And remember, you have just listened or watched to Apocalypse Soon, a podcast with no upside.